Hi everybody, here's a quick demo of using Alchemy, specifically using Alchemy and Logic Pro to import in your own audio sounds in order to create some type of new instrument. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start with a software instrument, of course. I'm not going to go to my browser to choose a sound. I'm going to actually go specifically into the instrument little drop down because I want to choose specifically the Alchemy instrument. Alchemy shows up down here or up here with the recent because I've recently used it, but you may need to go down to Alchemy in the main list. So I'm going to bring up Alchemy. Here's what it looks like. You can resize it. If it's too small, just grab a corner and you can make that bigger or larger. So make it whatever size you like. So Alchemy is an extremely powerful synthesizer. You can certainly use it as just something to choose a bunch of presets. There's a very well thought out browser where you can find specific sounds and you can try them out. But for our purposes, we're going to actually create our own sound with this. So we need to start with a default sound, an initialize sound. So I'm going to click on this file menu and I'm going to choose initialize preset. Now that creates a sound. It's just a little sawtooth waveform, pretty boring, but that's why it's initialized. One of the things that Alchemy allows you to do is you have 4 sources that could be an oscillator for each. You can click on there, you can choose different oscillators that you want, from real basic ones to more complex ones. But I can also import in audio. So that's what I'm going to do here. What I've done, let me get to where I can see these files. So what I've done is I have created a file called ice. All it is basically my ice maker on my refrigerator. So I'm going to add that into Alchemy. I just need to drag and drop. It's pretty cool they added this feature where you can just drag it over here, over the oscillator or the source you want. I'm going to do source A. And I can choose between an additive method, a spectral method, using it straight as a sampler, or granular. Granular is really interesting, get some cool effects. So that's what I'm going to drop it in the granular tab. So when I play now, okay, I hear that ice maker. I'm going to turn it up a little louder. And of course it is pitched like a sampler so I can play up and down. But what I want to do is some more interesting stuff. So I want to dive more into what this can potentially do. I'm going to click the A button so I can see this in more detail of my A source. Now you can see that waveform for my ice. And I can change some things already with the sound. One, I'm going to make this volume a little louder. One, I could change the panning if I want to be left or right or whatever. I could change the tuning. It says 0 semitones or coarse in this little knob. So I could set that to be a different pitch. Usually if you want to use this as some type of melodic instrument, bass line, a melody, whatever, you'd want to make sure that this is tuned according to the rest of your instrument. So in other words, a C, when I play a C on the keyboard, it will be a C. So you may need to either bring up another oscillator like this and compare the two and see if you can match the pitch. I'm not really that concerned about it right now. And let me turn B off for the moment. So I can adjust that pitch if I need to, and I can adjust it by fine pitch as well. The position and speed knobs here have to do with this waveform. How fast is it going to play through that waveform, and where is it going to start? So as you see when I drag the position, it's changing where that can start. I'm going to make it start here maybe. Not bad. I'm going to slow it down though. You can already hear some stuff happening. I can also, right underneath it, there's a loop mode. So I can actually click on that and say, oh, let's make this go forward and backward. Okay, it's already a little more interesting. If I go over to the right, under the granular tab, because I'm doing granular synthesis right now, I can make some adjustments such as the size of the grains, the density, how many taps, tap spacing, all of which you don't really need to know exactly what's happening. You can just kind of experiment with this and see if you like the sound. So let's mess around with some of these knobs. All right, that's already getting a little more interesting. Now I'm going to go to B, source B, and I'm going to turn that back on. So I have this sound is playing both A and B, A being my ice audio, B being this sawtooth waveform. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to change it to maybe something more complex and interesting. Maybe this, noisy ringer. I might want to adjust a filter on just this noisy ringer. Or I can click on global, and now I'm seeing all of my sources. I'm only using 2 right now, of course. And I can change the overall filter for the sound. So you can hear it's a little more dull because I've closed the filter. I'm going to resonate the cutoff point. Okay, not bad, but what I want to do is basically I'm going to set an LFO modulator to make this cutoff open and close. If you don't remember how this stuff works, you may want to watch one of those earlier tutorial videos on how to do some basic synthesis stuff. But in Alchemy, if I want something to be modulated, that is, I want something to change some parameter, I click on that parameter. As you can see, cutoff is now blue. And then I go to my modulation section, and I click on here to add an LFO1, to modulate that cutoff filter. I need to tell it how much. So as you see, when I bring up the intensity, over here, it's now showing in orange. How intense is this modulation going to be? Do I want it tighter or really wide? Speed of the LFO modulation will be done over here with this rate. So here's what it sounds like with the LFO modulating the filter. Maybe faster. So anyway, you kind of adjust that if you want, whatever your taste is. I'm also going to go down to effects near the bottom. Alchemy has a bunch of built-in effects. You can obviously add on effects to a channel strip that has Alchemy on it, but it also has some built-in effects, so it'll be just a part of the sound before you even then further change it with some other stuff. So I'm going to put on maybe a phaser, and maybe also do it with some reverb. And of course, this is signal flow order makes a difference from top to bottom how the signal is going to go, but you can change that. Okay, so that's just some basics, just getting started. It's really fun to play around with this synth, especially when you start bringing in your own audio files. So give it a go and see what you come up with.